Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. We just hit 49.5k subscribers. Let's try to get to 50k by election day. Please like this video down below and subscribe to the channel. And today we have to talk about mail-in ballots, the return rates, and we're going to be comparing these to where exactly do they need to be for Donald Trump to get elected during this election. So there's several states that track their data by party registration, and there's some states that don't. Again, this uses TargetSmart, and TargetSmart is showing that Donald Trump is doing very well with mail-in ballots in places like Michigan, places like Wisconsin, and I do have skepticism over that, so I'm not going to necessarily go through every state because some of the data is incomplete, but I am going to go over the key swing states that actually do track party registration data, and we are going to see exactly who is winning each swing state or where the candidates are exactly where they need to be in order for them to pull it off. So first, starting off, we are going to go to the state of Arizona. Arizona does track party registration, and polls have been looking a little bit better for Donald Trump in Arizona. There was a poll that came out today out of Trafalgar that had Donald Trump up by 4. And Trafalgar actually did nail the 2018 Senate race in early November, but then they decided to foolishly put together a last-second push poll that had McSally up, and it kind of tarnished their reputation a little bit, especially in the Sun Belt. But the fact that Donald Trump is up by 4 in their poll is a good sign, especially as things like the Supreme Court definitely are factors that help Donald Trump out in a state such as Arizona, where no Democrat has reached 47% in the state since 1948. It's been a very long time, though this could be the cycle that changes even if Trump does win. So Arizona is looking very good in terms of mail-in ballots requested. Republicans do lead Democrats by roughly 2 percentage points, although there are a lot of independent voters as well. We don't know how those voters are exactly going to go, but Republicans with the lead is fairly impressive, and that's out of 2 million requested. But keep in mind that apparently in the West, 65% of individuals plan on voting by mail, and that is partially because there are states like Oregon, Utah that do it fully by mail, as well as Nevada, which is launching universal vote by mail. Arizona, we're a little skeptical about if that margin is going to be that high. If it is, it was more understandable that Republicans would be doing well. But in terms of mail-in ballots and in-person ballots returned, it's a very much smaller number. We don't really want to use that to extrapolate for the whole population. But based on these voters, Democrats do have a decent lead, although that's only a couple hundred of votes because that's just 1,100 out of over 2 million ballots that are requested. And if you look at this, the deadline to register online already passed. It was October 5th. The last day to vote early in person was October 30th, so there's still ways away from now until Election Day in Arizona. A lot can happen, but based on the requests, I'd say it looks fairly good for Republicans so far and Trump in the state of Arizona. We could go to the state of Colorado. It's not necessarily meant to be competitive, but there's a lot more mail-in voting there. If you want to look at the party registration data, Democrats doing extremely well in the state of Colorado. It's not the be-all and end-all. That's only 10,000 votes. But again, Colorado is not a state that is expected to be competitive by any means this cycle. I think Joe Biden is going to beat Donald Trump in the state of Colorado by roughly around 10 percentage points or so. So now we'll move on to the swing state of Florida that does track party registration. Florida is always a close state. We've seen mixed polling out of the past couple of days out of the state of Florida. There has been over 5.5 million mail-in ballots that have been requested. That is a very, very large number of ballots requested. I don't even expect that many to be returned. There were plenty in the primary that were not returned. Also, some people do request the ballots and then they go vote in person. And you can see from the poll right here, a lot more people in the South do tend to vote in person before the election compared to vote by mail necessarily as well. That has to be taken into consideration. And when you look at this, the mail-in ballots requested, party registration, the Democrats have a significant lead, but that is expected as most Republicans do tend to vote in person. In terms of the ballots returned, however, a lot of these do lean Democratic. Although the data is not necessarily completed, that is also expected, and that is probably maybe a couple 100,000 vote lead that Biden will have. Right now, that could easily be made up on Election Day We'll really just have to wait and see, but a lot of those are mail-in ballots that are returned. The early in-person ballots are breaking more for Republicans than they actually have in years past. So Republicans will be able to make that up, and if you look at the guidelines here, the first day to vote early in person is not until October 24th. So this is not early in-person voting. This is mostly mail-in ballots that are coming through. So that will be an easy number for Republicans to eventually make up. We'll just have to wait and see how many more ballots get through, because Republicans are probably going to have a very big lead on Election Day voting. And by the way, Florida counts their mail-in ballots first. So we'll also be able to know the winner of Florida on election night. If Biden wins Florida on election night, the race is basically over. If Trump wins it, Trump's got a chance. So we'll really just have to wait and see. But it's looking good for Republicans out of Florida so far. They are not getting completely trounced just yet. However, there is a lot of mail-in ballots that have not exactly yet been returned. So we'll have to really just wait and see. Iowa, I believe, is another state that does party registration data, so it should be easier to track. A lot of people are expecting Donald Trump to win the state of Iowa. And of the mail-in ballots that have been requested, Democrats do have a lead, I would say around 100 to 150,000 votes there in terms of the lead in mail-in ballots requested. In terms of the mail-in and early in-person ballots returned, a lot of those voters that you see here are more in person, and Democrats do still have a big lead. However, that lead is a lot smaller than the mail-in ballot requested lead, because a lot less people have voted by mail or voted in person. Even compared to last time in 2016, we could be seeing some incomplete data here as well, but I do expect a lot of Trump supporters to vote in person on Election Day in Iowa. That will probably help Donald Trump over the top in the state of Iowa. Now we can go down to the state of Nevada, and I will warn people about this because a lot of this vote is not from Las Vegas, it's not from Clark County, it's from the rural parts of the state. So the fact that Republicans and Democrats are roughly running even means pretty much nothing, because again, a lot of these votes are not necessarily counted from Clark County, so I wouldn't look too much into the results coming out of the state of Nevada. But we will go down to another big key stronghold, North Carolina here, where a lot of the early voting has been taking place. It is in the state of North Carolina. North Carolina, early in-person voting starts October 15th. So again, Democrats are expected to hold a wide lead here, as they do. Democrats have, I guess you would say they probably have around 100 to 150,000 vote lead right now, which again, that's very, very easy for Republicans to make up on Election Day. But again, this is October 9th. We still have 23 days or so, if not more, ahead of the election. So we'll really just have to wait and see. But so far, are Democrats necessarily where they need to be to the point where they are going to win outright? Not necessarily, because there is a lot of work that they have to do in order to win. They're still going to need to get out some of their base that is not going to vote by mail on Election Day. If they do not do that, they are going to be in trouble in North Carolina. Again, I expect Donald Trump to win the state of North Carolina relatively easily, probably by like 2 to 3%, as well as Florida. And I think Arizona is looking a little bit more favorable to Donald Trump as well. So we'll really just have to wait and see when it's all said and done. The last state I wanted to take a look at here was the state of Pennsylvania. Now, Pennsylvania has been voting early in person since September 14th, according to this. I do have a little bit of skepticism over that as well. I don't think a whole lot of people were voting on September 14th, but the deadline to request a mail-in ballot is coming up in just 18 days. And you can see here that of the mail-in ballots requested, a big, massive lead for the Democrat Party. Republicans are down at 24%. In terms of the ballots returned, currently Democrats have a massive lead, probably I would say around 100,000 vote lead at a minimum there. But again, a very small sample size. We have a long way to go. The state is a little incomplete. So far, it's not looking that good for Republicans out of Pennsylvania, but it is looking fairly decent in places like Florida, North Carolina, Arizona. But again, a lot of the data that we've seen, very small sample sizes, places like Georgia, places like Pennsylvania. Also, the data is sometimes incomplete. You don't know where it's exactly coming from. For example, if you want to look at my home state of Michigan, which does not track by party registration, I think they're trying to do do it by precinct. And Target Smart is not necessarily the most accurate here, but what it shows is that Republicans are leading among mail-in ballot requests, and Republicans are tied with Democrats in the ballots returned. If this was remotely true, Donald Trump is winning the state of Michigan by probably 15 points or so. I don't believe that to be true, especially with a lot of the polling. I do think Trump will buck some of the polling. I think he'll win the state of Michigan potentially. I think that he will win at least one of the big three in terms of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, but there's just no way that of the ballots returned, it'd be tied in Michigan, yet Republicans would be lagging so far behind just over in Pennsylvania. So again, a lot of this data for the states that don't track by party registration is incomplete. A lot of it's done sometimes by precinct or county. It can be a little inaccurate. But the bottom line is Republicans, if they get out and vote on Election Day, if they get out and vote even in the in-person early vote, then I do believe that they will have a very good chance at winning this election. Donald Trump, regardless of what the polls are showing, is still right in there. And in my next video, I'm going to talk about what Donald Trump's path to 270 is, what his campaign sees his path to 270 is based on some recent fundraising data. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media, become a member, donate to the Patreon, or subscribe. Star links in description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.